Welcome to Yoga for Everyday Endurance Athletes and Normal People too. We're going to start in cow, and so on all fours today. So we're going to be on hands and knees, hands underneath your shoulders and knees underneath your hips. So it suddenly in Wisconsin got really hot. Like we went from winter or early spring to summer in a day. And so I spent all afternoon on the bike, and I feel like my brain is baked. So if I get a little confused today, that is why. So I know it's going to be hard to tell the difference, right? So inhale, and we'll come into a cow, and we'll drop your belly. So you're trying to inhale into your belly through your nose. And then as you start to exhale, arch your back, tuck your hips under, and look at your toes between your knees. Then inhale up. So you drop your belly, stick your butt out a little bit, lift your head up, and then start to exhale. You know, I have this skill that I honed as a middle school teacher, is that I can tell if someone is lying just by looking at them. Just by looking at them. But I can also tell if they're standing. I know, it's dumb. I'm embarrassed to even tell those jokes. And I've got a joke about construction, but I'm still working on it. Yeah. That's why I don't quit my day job. All right, hands out, curl your toes under, come into a downward dog. So we're going to do some core work today with some twists in our poses. So as we inhale, we're going to just continue to work on moving with your breath. So the inhale and downward dog is to come up on your tiptoes, maybe put one heel down on an exhale, another heel down on an exhale. And here we go. We're going to inhale, look to the top of the mat, walk your feet forward into a forward fold. Inhale to a half lift, exhale to a forward fold, and then inhale, bring your arms to their side and bring them up overhead into a high mountain pose. And now we're going to come straight back down to a forward fold. And we're going to come into a plank in half lift and bring your hands to the mat and come in to a plank. We're going to hold this for a moment. So what we'll do then is push back to a downward dog on your exhale. Inhale, exhale. Then we'll inhale, come back down to a plank, but this time we're going to come into a side plank. So you have some options in the side plank. You can drop your down knee. So my left knee is down, my right arm is up. You can stack your right foot on top of your left. But we're going to inhale and exhale and drop down and push into a downward dog. And now we'll do that same thing on our other side. I'm going to flip around. Good. Now inhale, we'll roll forward and tilt over. So my left hand is coming up, or your other side. And then your top foot is forward or your bottom knee is down. Breathe into your belly. And then drop your hand, push back to a downward dog. I hope we're all warmed up now. Well, inhale, lift to the top of the mat and walk your feet forward into a forward fold. Inhale to a half lift. Exhale to a forward fold. Inhale all the way up, overhead. And now we're going to exhale to a forward fold. Inhale to a half lift, but this time we're going to bring your hands behind you into a bind here. We're going to do several binds today. And then drop down into the forward fold again in a bind. All right, so lots of stuff happening here, and you'll start feeling it. The inhale is to lift your torso up like we normally would do for a forward fold. And then the exhale is to fall forward and trying to let your arms come up, back. Good, now we're gonna inhale and drop our hands down to the mat. Inhale to a half lift. Exhale to a forward fold, and then all the way back up to a mountain. And then bring our hands to our sides and relax a second. Whew. All right, so now we're going to come into hands are at our side. We're in our mountain pose. Our shoulders are slightly back. We're going to come into a crescent lunge pose. So we'll inhale and then we'll exhale back with our right leg. So in crescent lunge, just getting my balance. Your feet are shoulder width apart, maybe a little bit wider. So it's a little bit different than what we do when we're in warrior poses. And then we will raise your hands up. You can have your hands at your shoulders. You can have your hands on your waist, whatever works for you. Left knee is over your left ankle. The inhale is to relax your torso. The exhale is to lean back a little. I'm not leaning back very far. Inhale up, exhale, roll back. Good. So really work on inhaling into your belly and exhaling and coming back. All right, we're going to inhale, come up. Again, we're going to drop our hands behind us. Come into the bind. So you're clasping your hands like this. And then pull your shoulders back on the exhale. So we're doing the same motion, except now we're trying to pull our shoulders back, collarbones up. Good. Now, let your hands release. Roll your feet so that they're both pointing forward. And we'll come into a wide stance forward fold. This is a transition pose in between the crescent lunges, just to give us a little bit of a break in between the strength work that we're doing there. The inhale is just lifting your torso, just like we do with the regular forward fold. And the exhale is just to come forward. You'll feel this in your glutes, maybe your hamstrings, your lower back, maybe in your shoulders as you're trying to let your head go. You can have your hands on the mat. Sometimes it feels like there's a lot of weight in my torso, stressing out my legs. So sometimes I like keeping my hands on my legs just to keep the balance. Then I'm going to inhale, roll myself up, and roll my feet now so that my right foot is pointing forward, and so is my left. And I'm going to come back into the crescent lunge. All right, so we're in crescent lunge. Right foot forward, right knee over my right ankle. I'm going to inhale into my belly and exhale and sit back. Inhale up, exhale back. One more breath here. Good. Now, inhale and bring your hands down behind you into the bind. Inhale and bring your shoulders back down. It's the same breath pattern. You're trying to inhale into your belly and then exhale. Lift up your torso, lift up your collarbones, drop your shoulder blades. All right, then we'll inhale, release your hands as on the exhale. Again, we're going to rotate our feet forward, come into the forward fold, but this time, bring your hands behind you, and we'll do the bind here. Again, we're just trying, your arms kind of add a little bit of extra weight and momentum in a way. So you're trying to lift up your torso. Relax. Bring your hands to the mat, walk them forward so that now your left foot is forward again. And we're going to drop our back knee to come into a low lunge or a lizard. And in lizard, well, both hands, if you can, inside of your knee. Excuse me for 1 second while I grab my block, which is right here. And you can also put a book or the block so that in lizard, your hands are basically at your ankles. And we are going to be doing the same kind of work that we often do in this low lunge. Bring our hips back, and then on the exhale, roll them forward. Now in lizard, we get a little bit deeper stretching to the hamstrings that go into your glutes, in addition to the front of your thigh, your right thigh, and your right hip flexor. Keep rolling forward. Just keep, you're just letting things come forward. We're not ever trying to force my hips to roll forward or force my hips to try to open, because that's just going to stress everything out and therefore nothing is going to open. But you just kind of put your hips in the right spot and relax, they will open. Good. All right, now bring your right hand to the mat. And I'm going to sort of flip forward here so you can see it. And your left hand on your left knee. Okay, you can leave your hand on your knee, or we can come up into a lizard twist. So the whole motion is to bring your hips back, your left shoulder down, and then roll your hips forward and lift up your left shoulder and left hand and try to look up at your hand. And inhale and exhale. So there's a lot going on in this. So just move slowly. If you're getting at this, you're doing some extra work in your left hip joint, in your left glutes. A little bit more in your right front of your hip. Inhale and just rotate. One more of these. Good. Now, bring your hands down. And bring your feet back. We'll come into a downward dog. That's kind of our rest pose. Inhale and just bring your collarbones down. Good. Now we're going to inhale, bring our right foot forward. Is that right? Yeah. Right foot forward, drop your left knee, and then you can put the block inside of your right ankle. Or maybe you don't need it, you can put your hands down. Same process. Inhale into your belly, and then as you're exhaling and relaxing, just roll your hips forward. All right, ready for the twist? Here we go. And we'll bring on the next exhale, bring your left hand down, your right hand on your right knee. And again, you can leave this here and just do the twist like that, or and just do the twist with your shoulders, or you can bring your right arm up into the air. Anyway, bring your hips back on the inhale. Now on the exhale, rotate forward and rotate with your right shoulder. And again, if you can, look up, and if it doesn't cause too much strain on your neck, you can do that. So you just kind of continue the rotation. And you may notice a difference from side to side, but just keep dropping your shoulder and your hand and exhale it a little higher. A couple more of these. Good. All right, now we're going to bring our hands down to the mat. Bring your right foot back, and we're gonna lie down on the mat. Belly down. We're gonna come into a locust pose. Chin on the mat. It's kind of hard to talk this way. Last time I did this, I also turned off my microphone, which I clearly have already. Well, hopefully this works now. Sorry about that. And we'll come into a locust, and we will inhale, bring your chest and shoulders off the mat, your arms on the mat, off the mat. And stay here, or you can lift up your feet and your knees and your thighs off the mat. So it's kind of like you're trying to fold yourself in half backwards. You're really squeezing your booty a lot. You're squeezing your lower back. If you're getting the breath right, you're kind of doing a little bit of rocking. And relax. Come down on your left cheek. So we're going to do that 2 more times, and I'm going to give you one other option. We're going to, if you wish to, you can try a bind in the locust. And the bind is simply bringing your hands behind you together. So if you want to try that, go for it. And then we'll inhale, and we'll lift everything up and bring your arms back. And this just creates a little bit more work on your shoulders, triceps. Same thing must be out of battery. Sorry, folks, I'll just talk loud. All right, let's come on down. Come on down on your right cheek. All right, we'll do that one more time for just a couple of breaths. And inhale up, and again, you can come into the bind if you want to, if that works for you. Good. It's a bit of a challenge to lift your arms up off your butt, but that's the idea. All right, good. Now, we're going to roll all the way over onto our backs, and we're going to come into a bridge pose. And the bridge pose is again working on core muscles, particularly in your back and in your glutes. So on your back, bring your heels in as much as you can into your hips. And then your hands are going to go to the side. And you are going to lift your hips up off the ground and push your hips up as high as they will go. And again, like in locust, you're just trying to squeeze your booty like you have gas in church. And you are just squeezing and holding. Inhale into your belly and then relax. Good, come on down. All right, now, for the second and last time, if you want, we're also going to do a bind behind our back. So inhale, come on up, and then bring your hands together underneath your hips, and your shoulders kind of roll under a little bit. Again, just try to push your hips up as high as they will go. Good, and then come on down. Roll up to a seated position. And what we will do is some seated twists. Left leg is straight. Bring your right knee and bend it, and bring your right foot over your left knee. Bring your right hand behind you. Right? So you're going to have some options here depending on how well or not well you can move and feel comfortable. The goal is to get your left elbow inside of your right knee. Inhale, and then rotate and look behind you. Try not to push too much with your left elbow. If you can't get your left elbow, you can simply hold on to your left knee with your hand. We're just rotating and looking behind us. So we're trying to create a little bit of rotation in our lower back. Good. All right, let's switch legs. Stretch out your left leg, stretch out your right leg, bring your left leg up and across. And again, now we're taking my left hand, bringing it behind me. My right elbow is going inside of my left. And then the goal, again, is to rotate and turn. Inhale up. Try to straighten your back. It's really hard because we're kind of at a curve spot in our back, but that's the goal. Good. A few more of these. Good. Now, we're going to finish by simply doing a couple of windshield wipers, but with our legs up. What are we doing on time? Perfect. So let's bring our knees up into the air, hands by our side, and our feet up into the air. And what we will do is roll over to our right and stop before we come to the end. And then we'll inhale and come up. So this is all core work, but rotational. Inhale up, exhale, rotate over. If this is not challenging enough or you want a bigger challenge, you can extend your legs because that will make it harder because obviously it's just more weight. And then exhale down. And then back up. That's too much weight. And then up. And then over. There you go. I feel like, oh, there are my hips. Nice. Good. And then bring them back up. Hug your knees in. Grab a hold of your big toes if you can and come into a happy baby. Just kind of roll back and forth a little bit. And then we're going to roll up to a seated position. And if you can or can't, sit on a block or a pillow. And see if that helps with your hips. And open up your hips as much as you can. Inhale, have your hands by your side and exhale. And inhale up. And bring your hands together and hands to heart center. I appreciate your presence tonight. I'm grateful that you were here. Namaste. All right, thanks for joining us. I'm sorry about the sound issues. Hopefully we got through class. Welcome and thanks for joining us for Yoga for Everyday Endurance Athletes and Normal People too. We will see you next Tuesday at 6 a.m.